First elimination. Ten.
9, 8,
7,
6.
3,
2,
1.
0.
Hello, welcome one and all to this exciting Dash League Season 6, Cycle 6 match. I am everybody's favorite
That's
commentator, and maybe I'll grant not the favorite caster for today since I'm not casting this match, not Gollum.
Second favorite.
Sure.
Because I'm here.
Sure. I'll
In
just
the booth
for today.
also. But anyways, Kastle, and with my man, not Gollum over here. We're here waiting for everyone to come in for this matchup. This is the second to the last match of the entire season, Other versus Not. And we're still waiting on some people.
Yeah, for those watching this live, they have seen or seen at least the postings for match after match. This last Sunday has been a busy one, and this is going to be another exciting match. This whole season, all these teams have been building up their strengths, trying to make up for their weaknesses as well. And Abyss, as the newest payload, despite being around for a little bit at this point, still has a decent amount of the meta developing. So it's always interesting to see what teams bring to the table.
You know, I'm still seeing new angles, new positions I would have never thought. Just the last match, there's this little spot towards the fifth portion, you know, towards the end that Rockets were just sitting on. I was like, wow, never tried that, you know. I think I've seen people do it in pubs, but constantly new angles, new metas. It's awesome.
Yeah. And also with the other two maps, with Canyon and with Launchpad, especially with Launchpad, there's like an area for that red can easily hide in some kind of house or some rocks to hide behind, and a lot of teams will tend to be very aggressive towards the start just so they have the dashes to dance around that cart. But I'm noticing in general, at least it seems on Abyss, a lot of teams want to hold further back, prevent the blue from moving up, and then jump in afterwards.
I've been noticing that lately, which is just this evening too. A lot of passive plays. I mean, not every team seems to be a mix of both, but you're right. That's one thing to point out for sure. It's been interesting to watch.
I wonder if part of that is just like how long the rail path on Abyss is, how open many of these areas are, and the fact that there's a roof over the entire map. Sometimes rockets or teams that typically tomahawk rockets can have a little bit more of a difficult time getting those rockets to the cart at every place in the map because it's so sectioned off, these different areas of the map. There's walls, there's corners, and it can be hard to approach cart without being taken down from a far sight line. I wonder if many teams are kind of keeping that in mind. And I'm also curious to see if OTHR and NOC are going to be approaching with that strategy for today as well.
You know, if I were OTHR, with all their like specialties, with all their heavies and whatnot, playing back definitely wouldn't be a bad idea. I mean, in general, rule of thumb is you want to at least be beyond the maximum dash distance coming out of their spawn with canyon with launch pad. You don't want to be in that dash radius, you know. And I think you could move up a little bit further, but there are a lot of routes coming out of Abyss. Like for instance, you know where that bridge is coming from, that top house, that bridge crossing towards the flank. You don't want to be beyond that because that's exactly where a person can get with 3 dashes.
Yeah. And if you're not careful about stealing that, as red at least, stealing that bridge dash towards the beginning of the map, then you just give the blue team a dash right away, 1 dash out of their spawn, and they can hit that bridge dash if it's up. And so if your timing is off there, if you're too passive or just not paying attention, they can get into your back lines pretty easily.
It's a very strong consideration, and you do not want to lose water at the beginning. That's half of your pre-check phase there.
Now, while we're hanging out here, it looks like OTHR has all of their team members here. I'm just gonna read these off for now. We've got Mr. Pump, Outsider, The Last Saint, Abrackers, Ajax Water. Pretty interesting combination. I don't think I've seen, I at least personally have not seen all 5 of these players play together before. Have you seen these players in past games?
I was literally talking about this.
And we don't want to spoil any results. We're not gonna.
Lineup,
you guys should watch that after this
lineup.
Match, but go ahead.
Is completely different than the lineup they had at the beginning of the season. So it's interesting to see if they can kind of incorporate those other metas that they have, you know, those strats that they have already ingratiated into these newer players. And I mean, a lot of these guys, they're not completely new. I mean, Ajax has got a couple seasons under his belt. Mr. Pump's been here 3 seasons. Abrackers is an OG player. I think the only name here that's newer is The Last Saint. Taking all these older players, experienced, and putting them together in a congruent team, that takes a lot of work. Yeah,
it definitely does, especially when people have habits that might like unexpectedly conflict. If you can't just jump straight into a game and expect it to run smoothly. But hopefully these players have been practicing together well. Oh, NOC does have all 5 of their players in the lobby as well. We've got Small Quad, Vico 530, Octorilla, Bugahud, and Booga.
And I was just about to mention, NOC has a history of forfeiting. I'm sure everyone's aware. But glad to see they got it in. Did take 12 minutes, but you know what? We are going to get a match after all.
We're still within that time. We're within the limit. They're cutting it close. But maybe they're just trying to put the team OTHR on their toes. Keep them a little antsy. Hopefully they're keeping warm here. Is that Outsider dancing around? I didn't catch the name.
It was The Last Saint.
Okay. I'll take it.
The Last Saint. One thing to note about him, he's got pinpoint accuracy.
Yes. Oh my goodness. I have seen a few clips of The Last Saint, and I'm surprised I haven't seen more of them in the past. Like, are they truly new to this season?
I'm not sure. I mean, just looking at their levels. I can take a look.
But the last Saint, oh my gosh, their accuracy, especially more than anything, as far as I recall, this could have changed over the course of their playing towards the end of this season. But their charge shot accuracy, their double charge shot accuracy, is what
that first shot
really brings them up to a high level of play. Their accuracy afterwards is still pretty good, but that first shot is something that they, in my experience playing against them, are excellent at. And Ajax, conversely, generally a very good sightliner. Mr. Pump, Outsider, Brackers, as far as I'm aware, all good heavies players. And as long as you can get a rotation of heavies up and lock down some of the longer sightlines where heavies will tend to suffer, that this could be a pretty strong hold on the part of other that NOC is going to face some difficulty overcoming. Hopefully they've prepared for this.
Yeah, we'll see. Most likely we'll see Mr. Pump with those rockets. A Bracker's going to be running with shocks. And then Outsider holding that hook flank, making sure nothing gets to the flank while Ajax Water pushes up.
And then plus you've got that shotgun once you make it towards that far side.
Yeah. Yep.
He's terrifying with one shotgun, one pistol. You'll see it in his gun hold,
yeah,
too.
that hold, iconic. It's truly iconic. Yeah. Which, by the way, in the iconic has completely ruined that one. Thank you very much. But yes, if there's a unique gun hold, I think Outsider will take the cake there.
Earlier we were talking about how important keeping control of that water room is, and at the same time how many teams on red are going to start out with a little bit more of a passive hold to then jump into that cart. But in your opinion, how do you think teams are going to best hold that water room if they have to make a choice between holding it from the far alley versus rushing in towards that water health and using it as a little cubby? Obviously, it depends on the player, depends on the team, but in general, what I'm seeming to notice is that because that water room is so open, if you don't have the dashes to rush into cover right away, you're going to get blown up from that alley if your opponent has control of it. So I'm curious to see if these teams are going to run with that strategy or maybe more of a skip-focused strategy. Who knows?
You know, I really think it depends on your mechanic ability. If you can, get really up in their faces if you have that ability. But at the same time, if you don't, you can easily make up for it by just kind of pulling back, holding a sightline. But it's crucial. Nonetheless, in every part of that pre-checkpoint phase, it is crucial to hold it, whether you're red or blue.
That is true. That is true. It's just such a quick route towards the opponent's spawn for both colors. That said, Last Saint can be holding down this health house a little bit open here, but does not get peeked. And he's still got his teammates around. Good shocks onto the cart by Abrakas. And Last Saint gets the health. It looks like they have rockets in the back line, trying to keep that health down. Maybe they're just now going to start pushing up. Who's to say, but others so far has been locking down this cart excellently, trying to steal all of the resources away from NOC. NOC, meanwhile, struggling to clear the area, but is staying focused on that objective overall and getting a decent amount of movement. We're not quite at the place where they should be overly worried about their pace, but we could be approaching that point soon.
NOC had a really good approach here. Even though they're not getting the frags right now, they still pushed players forward into water. And because of that focus in water, they drew a bunch of others away from cart just to get a little bit of push in the early phase.
That was a good kill on Outsider there by Booga. NOC may not be aware of it, but that alley is open for the taking if they choose to go for it. Good on Booga, though, to hop onto that objective and continue to get cart movement while most of other, except for one player, is pushed back into their spawn. Now Booga going to be locking down that water health that, like we were talking about earlier, if you have the mechanic ability to get that kill while they're in the open, it is great to hold it from this longer sightline, but players are able to sneak past into that cubby, charge up dashes, and Bracker's got a sick triple kill with the shock, clearing that cart by himself, and yet NOC is still able to follow up and continue to get more movement here. Whoa, Mr. Plump.
Whoa, what was that? I thought that rocket was going wild. How did he get that?
He's got some sort of Neo Matrix
I think it was a spectator client
moment
thing.
going on.
Maybe it just wasn't following, but that was crazy.
Yeah. Still, props to NOC for staying so focused on this objective here. I'd imagine many teams, when the enemy is in your face and staying in your spawn and it seems impossible to fully get rid of them, might lose some focus on that objective in favor of trying to clear them out, but NOC still double stacking on that cart and not balking at those rockets. OTHR choosing to stay on the objective. Good flank by Outsider, though. I think that's 3 NOC players down in a row. And now Outsider's trying to get some ground for the rest of his team. Does get taken out by Vico, though. A little bit too much billet focus. And now 2 different Rocketeers. Only 1 Rocketeer left. 4 other alive, possibly. Not able to take out that cart. NOC is still cruising up this hill.
This is a huge push, and it was a nice hook flank there too to really seal the deal. They've got a potential spawn lock here, putting a lot of pressure on Other. That being said, Other looking to wipe out NOC, now set up here. The pace here just seems to be switching back and forth consistently. That
being said, the cart has been a little bit on and off with the movement, but has been fairly consistent up until this point. Oh no, poor Vico, taken out by the caster's curse.
Got a little stressed there, didn't know what to do. Decided just to end it in the water.
No dashes for you from getting the kill. But now at this point that Other has a solid hold. We've seen historically that teams can lose a lot of time in this area if the red team hold is solid and their reinforcements are quick, because the cart starts to finally get exposed to a long sightline that the team in red can get to easily in 3 dashes. And rockets are able to set up as well. Mr. Pump does get taken out despite that shield not giving them protection during that dash. Outsider trying to solo kill the cart, but NOC is moving and grooving together.
Oh my gosh.
OTHR still alive on 4 health, does finally go down.
Cart.
Mr. Pump almost clearing that cart. Bughood, a little bit of movement, takes out Outsider. The cart is just barely within the tentative grasp of Team Other with 1 minute and 42 on the clock. That was a very, very good push. One more solid push out of NOC will actually get them through the checkpoint with a decent amount of time remaining. Rockets just now getting taken out. Bughood barely survives that rocket, pops off for another kill and gets the checkpoint.
That's it. Holy crap. And that's with 1.5 minutes remaining. That was a ton of time. That late phase was insane by NOC. Just, they were getting their wins. Maybe they just need a little time to warm up. They're on fire now.
Absolutely. The cart is unfortunately down. NOC has lost a little bit of time as a result of that and has to split their focus and give up some ground in this laboratory area. Abraker's trying to show up with the shocks, gets 2 solid kills and has a decent sightline on the cart. If he does not get pushed, he's going to get a couple free kills and charge up dashes. In the meantime, make space for the rest of his team to follow up onto the cart. NOC is actually losing a dangerous amount of time despite how early on the cart is here. You do not want to be losing this much time this early on, and you don't want to give Other the opportunity to set up in this lab as much as they have. NOC finally moving the cart and staying together on it, does get a couple kills there, clears that lab, and it's now all hands on deck moving forward, not stacking that objective. However, there we go. Well, nope, I guess not. They're really trying to prioritize keeping that cart protected. But despite that, Outsider sneaks past the back line. Booga takes him out with the double shotguns. Good follow-up on the cart, but the cart did go down, and now NOC is losing presence slightly, ever so slightly, in that jelly room. Other is trying to stream past into hitting that cart, so far not able to stop it since Other had the opportunity to set up, and Booga trying to snipe with that shotgun. Almost gets good double kill there. Outsider still alive with the 1 shotgun, 1 pistol, holding down the fort. Vico takes him out. Good jump up there. Good forward pushing out of NOC. Other is struggling to recover, but this is where the spawn advantage starts to shift back towards the red team's favor. It's still not in their favor yet. Thus, NOC is still able to double stack on that cart a little bit, but you can see Others slowly starting to recover ground and recover a hold, and we saw earlier what the team in red can do with a solid hold here. Rejects. taken out by Small Quad. That's good. Small Quad getting that kill, preventing Ajax from setting up in that sniper is a solid momentum for the rest of his team to then try and follow up on that objective. You can see in the bottom right corner some movement going on in the cart, but Abrackers still well practiced with those shocks. Does get 2 kills, and rockets are up for Team Other. That was a good flank as well by The Last Saint, but Bugahud with that flank dash is going to start to push some pressure on the rockets. Does die on the cart, however. That was terrible timing. The rockets are still alive. If the rockets had gone down there, the rest of NOC might have been able to follow up and start moving that objective underneath the bridge, but thus far, Other's hold has been solid.
Yeah, this has been a really nasty hold here by Other. They've just been controlling all the angles coming into this jelly room.
Good play by Ajax.
And
Vico taking them out, following up on the objective. The Rockets are still alive, though. Very patient play out of Mr. Pump there. Takes out Small Quad as well. Realizes it's time to back up. Gets a hit on somebody in that C room as well. Maybe he's going to grab that health. No, it's just going to flank the cart. Takes out Octorilla. And one more kill for the Rockets, possibly. No, but after all that dashing around, Mr. Pump still has plenty of dashes left to try and back up. Fortunately, Rockets did not go down. Oh, there you go. Booga got a good kill on the Rockets there, and the cart is now moving forward. Ajax does clear it, and Other is trying to stream into that C room, but I think Other needs to move in just a little bit more coordinated and get that killer hold set up once again. It seems like NOC is doing much better at keeping momentum than Other has been at trying to get it back into their favor.
Finally getting some movement from NOC here, despite that really long hold around lab. They're going to need to keep up this pressure here. They want to get it well into the surface area.
And the Rockets are alive once again, but Mr. Pump trying to do a lot by himself. Does clear that cart though, grabs the second rocket as well. Very low health and very low on dashes. They're going to try and hide in this health room until they can recharge dashes and make their way away from the cart. This is a good angle here. You can see everybody flanking it. They think because Rockets didn't hit it that the Rockets are somewhere in the back line. Unfortunately, that one miss made all the difference. They were forced to then follow up to try and clear it, and the Rockets did get taken out as a result. Whoa! Good headshot by Ajax Water. Now following up onto a flanking position around that objective. Is going to try to lock down that flank. Good double charge shot there. Takes that flank dash, keeps checking the wrist, and is on an absolute tear around this corner here. Virtually unstoppable. I think somebody on NOC has tried to go into the back line to take out those Rockets, but Ajax virtually uncontested here in this corner. Gets another kill on Vico. No flanking is going to be happening for NOC. Finally, now moving forward to flank that push. One player barely does not make it onto that cart. Good kill by Booga, however. Taking out that Ajax Water.
Is this sniper pickup intentional from Booga?
There we go. Changing the
not.
shotguns, I guess. Maybe not. That was a good kill with the sniper.
Upgrading to the newer model.
Does take out those Rockets, though. Good kill there. Ajax locking down a small area. That seems to be something that they're very solid at. We saw that in the flank, and now we're seeing it again in the health room, locking down this area with their good long-distance accuracy, and then charging up dashes and rushing into the opponent's face to not allow them to hold any solid ground. Does die on the cart, however. We've got 3 NOC players on the minimap, possibly 4, a fourth from the flank, making their way to the cart. The cart is at a on and off movement stage, I think, because those Rockets were taken out, and now it's just Ajax Water by himself, the only one close to the objective. Is going to try to stop it. Hops on, but cannot win the 1v4. Mr. Pump, though, following up, does try to take out that cart, but NOC was very patient and not hopping on. They recognized who Mr. Pump was, how they were moving, and they were not going to get a free death for Mr. Pump. Mr. Pump then ran out of dashes, and now the cart is still continuing to move forward, is underneath that bridge. This is a pretty safe place to be as long as the team in red does not have a solid hold, but we are only at 81.8%. The way that NOC has been moving when they actually have control has been exceptional, but they have not been able to easily break any solid hold that Other sets up. Bugahud, though, is going on a little bit of a killer distraction streak. Despite that, Abrackers with the shock behind the cart has been locking things down. Booga And who is that? Small Quad? Octorilla on the cart, getting some
Octorilla.
solid movement. Ajax, what? They
Ooh,
went for the cart,
Ajax.
but they
Did he
froze.
crash?
Overtime.
Might be a crash. Might be a power play here in Noc's favor, but a little
Red team
too late,
wins.
and that'll do it.
Wow, if that's a power play, I can't believe we caught that on the as
That
it
was
happened.
crazy. Last second. Last
He was-
second.
they-
You know, they actually had a
Switching
power play
sides.
of the other team banned it against other previously. Other just can't catch a break.
Yeah, unfortunate. It was like watching a shark approaching a kill, and then it just breezes.
It just
Yeah.
stops. It just stops.
Yeah, that was crazy. Good overtime out of Knock, 87%.
Is he still crashed?
I'm not sure. Hopefully, it looks like that might be the
Oh
case.
yeah. Oh yeah, he
Oh
is.
no.
And this is not a good start. Being low on numbers at this point, not where you want to be.
Vico set up in a sneaky position here
First
with the
elimination.
double shocks. Approaches the cart. Good kill on a Brackers there, but Outsider ready for it. Based on the call, Octorilla pops into the objective. Good kill by Mr. Pump, however, now backing up because of those rockets, trying to get them to run low on dashes. Booga does annihilate themselves, gets a kill, but the spawn from blue is right there, and now Booga has to rush towards that objective. You can see big emphasis on rushing. I don't think I like how many Knock players are right there at that corner.
All
They won
set
that
up
fight.
there. One shocker heavy, and they're all
Yeah,
dead.
yeah, and given how a Brackers likes to play, I would not be overly surprised if that happened. Mr. Pump, seeing their life flash before their eyes with that shock, does get missed. Now the card is continuing to move forward. I think Ajax Water is back into the game.
And he's back, and with a 4 kill.
Okay.
That's the impact. Yeah, the game decided that he was he was too hot right now, you know?
Yep.
You need to cool him down a little bit.
Mr. Pump going for a bit of a flank. I think more than anything, trying to pull attention away from the objective. It seems like Other is going for more of a consistency thing. They've realized with the way that that red side went that anytime Other has complete solid control, more or less they're able to make a ton of time in their favor despite 1 or 2 players dying at a time. But once Knock starts getting into a little bit of a more stream, 1 player at a time sort of mindset, and both teams start to do that, then things tend to go into Knock's favor. So Other is really trying to keep some solid movement, not double stacking a whole lot, not moving in fits and starts, and just trying to set up a solid hold so that it's difficult for Knock to stream in and approach 1 at a time. That being said, the cart did get wiped by Vico. A little bit of a slow response there. Double stacked on the cart for now. I think the rockets were taken out. Outsider now moving forward with that 1 pistol, 1 shotgun. Interesting hold. The way he was holding his guns, I actually thought he had a shotgun there for a moment. Does get taken out by Vico, who is trying to stream their way to cart, but Mr. Pump setting up once again. Good double stack by Other. They're almost to the top of the hill. Already Knock struggling to finally get around this corner. Does have a rocket, but does not get the kill. Brackers taking a high position to kill those rockets. The rest of Other now streaming in through that water health. You see why controlling that water health is so important as the team in blue can continue to stream in, but so many bounce shots on the cart allow for the team in red to actually get a couple kills from way back in their spawn, recharge some dashes, and start to get the momentum back into their favor. They have control of the objective, but they do not have control of any serious amount of space. So Other is now streaming in. Good kill by Ajax Water. The rest of Other now starting to move into that cart all together, and no rockets in sight for the team in red. A Bracker set up behind the objective, pops right on after his teammate goes down. Does not crouch, however, and Booga gets that kill from the high ground. Good kill by Last Saint there. Last Saint goes down. This is just a stream, player after player after player onto the objective. Other is flying here. They are a full minute ahead of the stellar pace that Knock set previously, and well on their way towards continuing to make it through that objective. Bugahut does miss 1 rocket. Mr. Pump follows up because the rockets are dead. Another kill on Octorilla and a double stack. 2 minutes 30 seconds through that objective. Other is doing great. I wonder if they're aware that Vico is in their backline. Vico making himself aware, trying to split focus there, does not get any kills there. Other continuing to go for that slow and steady push. I like how their strategy worked for them pre-checkpoint, but honestly at this point in the map, I think Octorilla getting that sick headshot is a prime example of why You want to get through this zone as early as possible and have players around that objective to punish the team in red for rushing too much. The one player who's alive on the cart keeps getting pushed by the one red player who sneaks behind, and other is actually losing a surprising amount of time right here. Wow. That was a very free checkpoint.
Making up for the time.
What do you think about that, Kastle?
I mean, unlike NOC right now, they've got a bunch of lab priority, and it's paying off right here as they're coming through. But yes, for that pre-checkpoint, that late phase group up by other, just showing how organized they are, served them well. It's just way too overwhelming for NOC's defense there. They just couldn't get set up.
Yeah, you can see now NOC is forcing the rest of the team in blue to stay around that objective or else lose it. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. When it's a kind of a rush strategy for both sides, when NOC puts enough pressure on to the objective that they force other to play their game, other actually starts losing ground and NOC starts gaming it. But if other really heavily prioritizes trying to play together and focusing on that objective there, that's where they tend to move virtually uncontested, and we're seeing a lot of that now. Other is not overextending too far past the objective as they start to enter the jelly room, and the cart is there's no red players in sight except for the one on the mini-map. There's some flanker going to the cart, does get a kill there. That's Vico with a kill on Ajax Water. Vico goes for the kill on one more player alive on the cart. Now that's 3 dead other players. That was a good flank. I know we weren't seeing it on the main screen, but you saw it on the bottom right, you saw it on the minimap. I called it out, and now NOC.
And he's got another one. He's got 3 kills on cart right now, single-handedly shutting it down for NOC.
Yeah. I like this attention paid to the C room as well. Vico going for a 4th, maybe even a 5th at this rate. Does get finally taken out, and now Ajax is trying to hold some ground, make it very difficult for Vico to get another nasty flank like that. 2 NOC players trying to move in. The cart is still moving steadily. Other adjusting and adapting where needed. The cart does get killed, but Ajax very comfortable in their far back position. Does get a little bit flanked here though, and finally is taken out. The last player in blue left alive around that objective, Octarilla, now going to try and hold down this behind the cart sightline in the health room. Makes their way forward, but I think NOC needs to keep in mind that flank. There's a couple very solid other players moving down that main rail, but if they lose focus on that flank, then other could get into their backline players like the last Saint, and Ajax getting into the team in red's backline is going to be very dangerous. Good kills by Buga there. Does not win that final 1v1 because Outsider made it a 1v2 there, and now the cart is continuing to fly forward. This is a very good pace by other. They are well on their way to making it to that 87% mark and beyond if NOC does not change something up in their strategy.
Yeah, realistically, at this point, they would only need about 1 minute and 30 seconds to push it, and they've got well over 4.
And they just keep surviving. There's always 1 or 2 other players left alive after the teamfight has concluded. NOC, meanwhile, continuing to stream 1 player after another onto the objective. When a few of them get a really good flank, like Bugahud there, it can make others' solid defense strategy kind of fall apart because they're expecting that 1 player already on the cart to stay there. But Bugahud, I think, is signaling for Vico to then move forward. That was a little funny. And Bugahud now an aggressive Shocks, trying to prevent movement out of that C room, but is fully out of dashes. I think he might get punished soon for it. Yes, he does. Ajax playing a lot more patiently, gets a sick double kill, and now the cart is free, moving forward. The rest of Other still streaming in behind that objective, and Other does make it past that 87% mark. We are now into the MMR stage of the game as Other starts to approach that 90%, and Ajax gets kill after kill after kill, going for another, popping up that objective, and another player still popping in behind. Ajax still alive, finally taken out in a trade with Bugga, but Others still moving that cart little by little. NOC has the pressure put on them, and where are their rockets? Where are their shocks? I think I saw 1 player grab those shocks there, but now Bugga is going to be stacking on that objective with pistols only. I think that's one big difference maker here, is we have not seen that many heavies out of NOC on the defensive side of things.
And heavies are so crucial for here. You could get 2. Actually, you probably need 2 for this phase. If they don't get those heavies up, you could be potentially be seeing 100%.
Especially if you have so many long sight lines and hiding places that you can take, high ground that you can take as a heavy user, or a sneaky position in the background, like you can see those rockets running away, trying to take some position where they can't be shot, but other putting the pressure on. Good flank by Octorilla though, taking out that card just before the 100%, but other is well on their way to making it to the 100% mark. It's just how much time is going to be remaining once they do, or will not have some sort of unexpected killer hold. The way things are going though, with no heavies in sight for the team in red, it does not look good. I like this strategy though of hiding behind the cart, trying to use that as cover, but Outsider just getting a little bit more movement. Ajax following up behind. The cart is continuing to move forward. So Last Saint trying to eat up some of the bullets and some of the dashes from the team in red, but others still streaming in one at a time. Gets a good double kill there, but the respawn timer for red is way in their favor. I like them trying to contest that stair area. Ajax gets a little bit more of a micro push there. Outsider does not. Good cart stacking by NOC. And you might want to see
I want to see a
yeah,
shot.
it's weird to say
That would have finished it.
as blue, but really with this much cart stacking this late in the game, that's kind of what you want, what you need. Unless you just have Ajax water going.
Unless you
on
just
a
do
tear,
that. I
works
think that's
too.
what they were trying to go for, is just use their pistol power to finish it. I think they were surprised just how long NOC was able to hold them off there.
Yeah, it looks like NOC also did lose one player, at least according to the scoreboard. So hopefully they're going to get that player back for the next map. That said, let's take a look at said scoreboard.
I'll bring it up on the main.
There we go. Top scoring for NOC is Booga. 56 kills, 59 deaths, 8100 score. Over on other, top scoring, top killing as well as the Last Saint, 80 kills, 56 deaths, just barely making it past that 10,000 score mark. Very well done, it's the Last Saint.
And a great performance.
All right.
And that'll do it for the first map. We're not seeing a server swap here. It's going to continue to be on New York. But NOC will need, they've got about a 10-minute buffer period, but they need to get that 5th player in. Otherwise, they forfeit that one.
And that being said, to everybody here watching the stream live, even if you're watching it post in the recording, please leave a like, leave a comment, show your appreciation for this league that we all love and care for so much. This is exciting stuff to watch, exciting stuff to cast, and if you are as excited as we are watching it, please do these little things to show your appreciation. We certainly enjoy it. We hope you do too. Next up, we have Quarry, which is an interesting one. It used to be everybody's most hated, at least in my experience, most hated map, but I think Volcano's
absolutely.
overtaken that for some people.
Yep. Quarry is, it's kind of like the Star Wars trilogies.
Right.
You know, prequel Star Wars used to be most hated. Then we got the newest ones, and now prequels. Everyone's like, oh, we love the prequels. That's Quarry right now.
And I should be said, this is all coming from me, not Gollum. One of the biggest proponents for how much I love Volcano. I really do like it, but that's kind of a discussion for another time. If we talk about Quarry, a lot of what people don't like about it, as far as I can tell, is how slow it seems compared to Waterway, and that's like, that's kind of a difficult comparison, right? Waterway is the most open, the fastest, the most just rush forward and win map of any of the maps, of any of the dominations. Quarry, meanwhile, has a lot of kind of sectionalized periods of the map. You really need to play coordinated, and you need to communicate with the team that's in the tunnel and with the team that's in the B, and you can't see each other while you're doing that. I think that's something that's like obviously difficult to do in pubs, but in this, I really appreciate how that communication is necessary and how different it is to play in those two areas. It's not really just one big map, it's two routes to the same destination that need to work in conjunction in order for victory to be achieved. What do you think about this map?
Kastle, and I think that's the real reason behind it. It's just the sheer complexity of the domination maps. Waterway, fairly simple. You could say there are two different levels in upper and lower, but there's still one main route, like you mentioned. Quarry, though, two very clear, distinct, different routes, and different levels. And now you've got Volcano. You've got two outside routes, and then 3 levels with potentially a 4th level if you like consider the towers and whatnot. We're just growing in increasingly. And I mean, you know, I've mixed feelings. Like, I personally love Quarry. Quarry's great. A lot of long sight lines, a lot of great places to sneak and hide. I think Volcano's gonna take time for people to get adjusted. There's just so many new corners, so many new things to learn, and people love what they already know, you know?
True that. True that. So I'm interested to see what Other and NOC are going to do as far as whether they're going to have specific players. I mean, generally, you have a specific players dedicated to B, dedicated to Tunnel. That's what they do. And you have to play those two areas very, very differently. Tunnel obviously has those 4 pillars in there you can hide behind, has the dash you can grab, has the 2 SMGs, and that's it. B, comparatively way more open, just a much larger area entirely, much longer path to get to the enemy base, has some kind of hidden under areas where players can hide and flank in a way that you can't do very easily in Tunnel. And so that can play to a lot of different players' strengths and weaknesses individually, and that's something that's important to recognize when you're building a strategy for this map. I, for example...
But not Gollum.
What's up?
Real quick, what do you like to play on
Oh,
Quarry?
well,
What's your
so we've been switching stuff up a little bit. I won't go too into detail about that, but traditionally,
What?
historically,
You should tell me everything.
I love the Tunnel because it's
Yeah?
I
that's-
just love
that's an interesting
stealing that
take.
dash, just grabbing it and rushing straight into the enemy's base, past all the people, leaving them in the dust. Because from that tunnel dash, you can, if your dashing is on point, you can make it straight to the enemy button, and unless somebody is waiting there for you, there's not much they can do about it. They might be able to turn around and counter it afterwards, but you can hit that button from right there and start getting into their base and causing all sorts of issues. And often, in my experience, that's what you tend to see here is 1 or 2 players will get into the enemy base and then start hiding, and that's when you have to spend time clearing out your own base or deciding whether or not to skip or dealing with those players stealing your resources. And if you get too bottled up in your own base like that, you can start to lose ground on B, not be able to get into the enemy base, and they can start flooding into your face and score a point after that. So that's historically what I love doing, rushing straight to that through that tunnel.
You know, I can see that. I can see that. But of course, you can also come back to face you. You have to end up facing the players coming through, like if you're on the losing side of it. So it's a toss-up.
True,
you know?
true.
It pays to be good. It pays to be good. I personally prefer B. I can play both, but I prefer B. Just how open it is, the different angles. I like the distance fights. Of course, you know, you've got that huge, long tunnel sightline. But in general, I think tunnel ends up being a lot more close quarters than you would think.
Yeah. And when it comes to long distance accuracy, you have me beat in that regard by a landslide. But that's part of why I like getting up close in people's face too. So
Yeah.
to each their own.
I know Willow is too.
Yeah.
But you guys have a lot of like versatility on that front. You've really started to round out with that range. So it's really cool to see there on Luke.
That's true. And speaking of tunnel goers, I fully expect Mr. Pump, a very fast, accurate dasher, to be somebody who might go in there and even try to contest on the opener that tunnel dash and try and steal it, maybe even make it towards the enemy base right there or back up for a teammate to follow them up. But from that point, that's kind of my expectation here. Mr. Pump somehow gets one of the dashes out of their team's base, whichever it is, makes it to that tunnel, tries to steal it. I'm interested to see if NOC is going to try the same thing. They have a couple people who are very good at getting into the back line. I'm not sure how fast of dashers they are, though, if they're going to be able to contest that sort of strategy here.
Well, one thing to mention, we're at about the 8-minute marker, and between maps there's a 10-minute buffer period. NOC needs to get their 5th in. Now, it really depends. I think Other is a type of team that would enforce that buffer period to the second. But I would hate to see this end in a last map forfeit. You need to get that fifth in.
Yeah, no kidding.
Wait, can you actually verify? Is it mandatory to actually enforce the buffer like last minute warning, or can you delay?
Ultimately,
if both
that
teams
is
are in
up to the
agreement?
teams. At the end of the day,
Okay,
with
That's what I-
this league, we really want to see teams play if they can play. But these rules are in place because we all have lives, and there's only so much time you can always afford to dedicate to this game. So as a baseline,
Absolutely.
if you can't get your fifth in and you have to forfeit a second map because the other team is running out of time to play, then they're well within their rights to call it at this point. It seems like that's something that Other and NOC are discussing right now. A lot of them are kind of in a group talking together. But if both teams agree to wait and try and get that fifth player in, and because they have the time and a battery available for it, that is up to them to decide. I think at this point, though, Other and NOC are discussing that. So we'll just have to wait
That
and
being
see what
said,
they decide.
I'm pretty sure Other will be vying to play this quarry. This is their stronger map of the two.
Yeah.
Between Abyss and Quarry. And they really need, with letting NOC get as much space on that Abyss as possible. And maybe a little bit of spoiler from the last map, but it didn't go as great. They had some drop issues, so they need this time in order to get back to the Dash tier and make it in the playoffs. So I would be actually surprised if they called it on the minute. Although I will say Outsider was mentioning in the Discord about that, so could be very well he calls it here. Just have to wait and see. Or perhaps I can send him a DM.
Yeah, I just sent a message to Outsider, so we'll see how
okay.
things go.
You take care of it. Awesome.
Yeah.
Oh, and there's
Oh,
fifth.
okay.
He's in.
Okay, just in time, just like with the last
But
map.
keeping us on our toes. They're really utilizing him. He might have been utilizing the time just to get that battery charged. I wouldn't be surprised.
There we go. Now
Yeah,
we are
close though.
jumping straight into it right after that fifth player arrives. Here we go.
Go.
Bugahud
Blue
going to be
takes C.
grabbing that first dash, rushing straight into the tunnel to try and
Blue takes
contest
C.
with who was that? He just got skipped. Bugahud very low on health, does get taken out by Outsider as well. Brings him down to low health though. Other does have
That
control.
was Mr. Pump.
Oh, there we go.
Mentioned him already, and he did exactly what you said.
There we go. Mr. Pump grabs that dash. Just going to be flooding forward, skipping players, grabbing dashes, trying to hit that button. Interesting strategy though to hold the button and force Mr. Pump to try and make a different decision with their approach. They can't just hit it and skip it because of the holding, and they get taken out in the confusion. Good trade there by Octorilla as well. Other lost control of B. Only has control of their own base at the moment. It seems like at this point in time, NOC has survived the opener, but Mr. Pump is continuing to flood in through the tunnel. Gets taken out by Octorilla, but the ground and momentum is still in the favor of Other, the team in blue. And now it is just Flood versus Flood, and if we're being honest, when it's Flood versus Flood, we saw that in the Abyss, and I'm sure we'll see a lot of it in this quarry. I think things will go in NOC's favor. Other needs to play together because that is when they win fights, not in a bunch of successive 1v1s where these NOC players can trickily pop out from behind corners. Now a lot of these other players working together to clear that B. Outsider trying to hold the low ground and recharge dashes so they can win the fight by taking out the stragglers. Does get flanked from behind, goes for stealing a dash, hits a button, and is now trying to solo clear NOC's base. Gets one kill, but NOC counters in Other's base. And Other is not going to be able to get a countdown until they get their own base back, and virtually the only way they're going to get a player back there in time is through respawning. You can see number 7 on the map, making their way towards the button, is going to have to try to win that 1v1 desperately. Outsider trying to clear out NOC's base, but still, NOC has Other's base, and Octorilla gets the final kill. Oh, Ajax Water still alive, is not going to be able to solo clear this 1v3, however. And NOC barely gets their base back in their own hands just as Other starts to flood through the tunnel and start another countdown. But finally, no NOC players have been able to sneak behind. No, it looks like one has. Wow, NOC is just all over the place with these sneaky maneuvers here, making it through to the different button. It looks like Other is going to have to look every which way and really focus on closing down those routes. That is what Ajax Water is on right now, trying to get his third kill on B. Good trade by Small Quad, and now NOC a little bit more comfortable in trying to prevent this countdown, I would think. It is still a countdown, though, for the team in blue. But it is pretty easily countered there by Small Quad and his teammate. Outsider, though, still flooding in here. I don't think Other should... they should be trying for a point, but I don't think they should be expecting a point with the way that things are going for them right now. Just flooding in one at a time. They really need a solid clear in order to turn into any sort of serious countdown that they can expect to buttonhole and turn into a score.
We're approaching 4 minutes, and really not much going on. Still without a point from either team. But I will say the pace seems to be a little bit more controlled by Other. They just need to seal it out to get that final score. Not really need to make up some decent space if they want to be really competitive for this next countdown.
Did Ajax mean to dash down there? I mean, I can only assume they did because they get a free kill on Rico and start a countdown for their team. Get another kill as well. Does not get the third, but a good button hold there turns into the first point.
And that button hold was A Brackers. Realizing that objective will earn them that first point.
Well done there.
Match starts in 3, 2,
All right, I wonder how
Ajax Water
go.
going off right now, 17 and 8, putting Other on his shoulders right now.
Red takes
He's
A.
doing very well. It looks like Boga is going to go into the tunnel, trying to counter that quick play out of Mr. Pump. Mr. Pump did go down, but it's the last Saint following up. Other has control of B, is moving into NOC space, starting another countdown. This is looking way worse than the first point. No! No!
See what Saint should have held!
Oh, man.
What was he doing?
Now,
Oh, that's
only
painful.
one player left alive, though. Oh,
And
my
that's-
God,
that's
no!
what you
He
do.
didn't get it!
That's how you do
Oh,
it.
no! Vico got the kill, but the button didn't go up in time. He was already holding it. You need to let that button go up and then
that's
hit
why.
it. Oh, it's so difficult.
And that's why you do a button hold. It's so hard. You gotta get the timing right.
Second point for Other. The pressure is on for NOC to try and turn things around. Plenty of time to do so, but do they have the energy and the momentum to do so? Already a countdown for Other. 2 players stuck
And
in the tunnel.
3
This is
stuck
going
in
to be a
tunnel.
third point
3
for
in
Other.
tunnel. Oh, what
no.
happens?
Oh no!
They put 3 in tunnel. That was shocking.
Miscommunication turned into the
All
last
5
point.
knock alive, only Mr. Pump alive, and yet they still got the point. That's got to be one of the biggest blunders I've seen.
Oh man! I mean, I
Wow.
despite that blunder, that is all very well played by Other. You can see it on the scoreboard, but they were not hurting for kills, especially with an even 2 KD out of Ajax Water. 20 kills, 10 deaths, 4,500 score. Over on NOC though, top scoring and top killing is Booga. 15 kills, 6 deaths, almost a 3 KD himself, 2,900 score. But Other wins 3-0 in under 10 minutes, which is difficult to do
And
on
that's-
Quarry.
Yeah, that's what they really needed. They needed that sub 6 to get that MMR boost, and this is going to really help them. I could see them getting into, kind of sliding into Dasher tier. We'll have to see how everything calculates out.
Yeah.
Good win. Good win by Other.
Good win, and thank you for casting Kastle. You've done so much for this league so far, and historically always
absolutely.
have, and it's always great when you're casting a match and commentating.
I mean, I love this community. So, you know, and trying to give whatever effort I got. I mean, you want to look at someone really giving effort. Look at Jaded
Yeah.
and Jake. I mean, we just counted up the numbers. Jaded has almost as many casts alone as the other casters have. Crazy.
Yeah.
So everyone been putting in a lot of work.
Yeah.
And glad to see you in here, especially this last day.
Of course. And
Hopefully we'll see you during playoffs. You know.
yeah, I'm looking forward to it. And everybody, be sure to check out those other matches from the end of this cycle. They should be posted by now. There's still just one match left to go, so be on the lookout for that. Anyways, I've been not Gollum.
I've been Castle.
We'll see you around.